Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. Nigeria's Niger Delta region is one that is rich in resources, but yet plagued by environmental degradation. Oil spills, gas flaring, illegal refining, and inadequate cleanup efforts have been ongoing battles at the dawn of democracy in Nigeria. Well, the Niger Delta was already suffering from decades of oil pollution, abandoned cleanup promises, and growing frustration among local communities. Critiques argue that while billions were budgeted for environmental remediation, corruption and mismanagement hindered real progress. Oil spills continued, communities suffered, and health crisis worsened. Then came UNEP's report on Ogoni land, alarming revelation of contamination levels in water bodies, soil, and air. The remediation efforts, well, slow, inconsistent, and overshadowed by political bottlenecks. The Tinubu-led administration has pledged tighter regulations and stronger enforcement of environmental policies. But are these promises actually translating to action? Well, joining us further to discuss this is energy consultant, energy and petroleum economist. We do have Mr. Ighoyota. Thank you so much for being here this morning on Breakfast Central.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you, viewers.
Let's start off first with a quick breakdown of the level of environmental impact of oil spills since 1999. Nigeria just celebrated 26 years of democracy. And in 26 years, Nigeria has been battling this seemingly nagging problem that's faced with oil spillage and the like. So can you give us a breakdown of the level of environmental impact so far so good from 1999 up until today, which marks 26 years?
Okay, thank you very much. Before I move forward, I want to first of all give my commendation, which I believe may as well be the position of a lot of Niger Delta people yesterday, running into this morning, when the president, in that is the most Democracy Day speech at the National Assembly, decided to give a pardon to the Ogoni 9, including our illustrious leader, Ken Saro-Wiwa of blessed memory, although there was no need for his execution because he was doing what he should be doing at the time, not until that military dictatorship led by late General Sani Abacha committed that sad crime against humanity, against the Ogoni people on November 10th, that Black Friday, 1995. So 30 years on, President Tinubu came out bold and strongly yesterday to rewrite history, and to correct an anomaly that we have lived with over the last 30 years. So I commend the president, and I'm somewhat also pleased that we are beginning to think rightly, not just granted them state pardon. He also seized the opportunity to also give him a national honor, a posthumous national honor, alongside some other pro-democracy activists in the lives of Professor Wole Soyinka, Femi Falana, Franco Kori of blessed memory, a retinue of them yesterday. So that said, like you said, 1999 to date, our environmental outlook and what it has been so far is neither here nor there. As energy economist and also environmental sustainability protagonist, we've always queried the way and manner we've allowed our environment to be this degraded. Even before some of us were born in the early 80s, the exploitation and exploration oil and gas in our region, the Niger Delta, have taken a toll, a very huge toll on the region. And government policies and intent by way of mitigating some of this environmental degradation and environmental harm to the region have not actually paid over yet expected results. So if you ask me, we say we are not actually where we had hoped to be. It's a work in progress, and I want to believe that the government has got to step up its guard, and also the operators in the region, that is the oil companies. Now we have them local. We have them both locally. We have local firms, the IOCs that have been here for over 60 years should also try to step up their game, so that we can achieve our environmental expectation for the region. I think that's where I will end it for now until you ask other questions.
All right. Let's. Thanks for taking us through. Your thoughts on the president's decision yesterday, especially to honor the late, activist, pro-democracy activist. But we'll come to that. I want us to look at the creation of the Niger Delta Development Commission. What would you say its impact has been since 1999 up until now? I remember just not too long ago, a few years ago, you did have people come out from the Niger Delta to state clearly that they haven't seen the benefits, especially of having what Nigeria is blessed with, which is the natural resources, oil and gas, because it's not really translating to every single livelihood of the Niger Deltans. So take us through what you think the Niger Delta Development Commission has done in the past in the past years. And what do you think is lacking so that the people can start to benefit from the dividends of what we call the natural resources Nigeria has been blessed with in the Niger Delta?
Thank you very much. Very good question. The Niger Delta is a product of necessity as it was then around 2001, 2002, when the former President Olusegun Obasanjo bought into agitations from the region in terms of giving back to the region. That the region have been the goals that have laid the golden egg for our country, and is the feeding bottle of the country, and a lot have been sapped of the region, and the region need to be developed, and the environment need to be properly realigned, and that led to the establishment of the NDDC Act in 2001, 2002. And for like 22, 23 years now, the interventionist agency, to my mind, have not actually lived up to its bidding, because a lot of trillions have been pumped in there. It's beginning to look like more of a political patronage agency. It's more like a cash cow for those that have been given the opportunity to manage. And it's so unfortunate that the place have been managed by Niger Deltans, citizens from the region. I don't know why each time people find themselves in place of authority, they hardly give what they tend to say when they are not in position. The Niger Delta haven't fed well, given the amount of money that have been devoted into its operations. If you ask me, it's not something to share. What I think they should be doing is to put the region first, just like we have a far cry in Nigeria, where we have people in authority not putting nation first. I don't think the people that have been managing that commission have actually understood understood the reason why that interventionist agency was created. When I say understood, it's not a question of mere rhetorical understanding. It's a deep sense of the intendment, the honest intendment of that fight. Like we say in our local parlance, that we are man for the work, man for the shop. That you will shop does not mean you will not work. We have to be very thorough. We have to be sincere. There should be sincerity of purpose to those that are from those that are manning that facility. It's no longer a question of say, okay, they are bringing people from other regions, like we have in the case of the larger Nigeria, where you say, okay, Niger Delta people have not been given their fair deal in terms of political patronage. In this same country, we've had the opportunity of producing a president that's from the Niger Delta. So it's not a question of having our own people manning the place. Although with the act, we still have people from other regions, they're making up the board to represent other regions by way of a federal character and accommodating other regions of the country. But to me, if you ask me, I fear no fool. I'll say it as it is. The Niger Delta Development Commission, that is the NDDC, has not fared well, and more needs to be done, and our people should learn to put the region first rather than owning big houses, buying big cows, and moving with all manner of security apparatus.
Mr. Ighoyota,
the environment is in dire need of remediation. You've seen what has happened in Ogoni. Even before Shell had issues with them. You saw the UNEP report. Till today, it has not been implemented. And the NDDC have been so political. You saw the last guy in the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, who happens to be the Senate President now. With all due respect to him, I'm not trying to denigrate this person. He didn't do well. He turned that plane into something else. He was just changing MDs upon MDs back and forth. Not until recently, when the president established this substantive board now that have been there for close to 2 years, that place have been back and forth with leadership exchange. So it's a question of people wanting people there to do their bidding, not actually to do the bidding of the region or collective interest in the region.
So, in other words, are we saying that the current Senate President was also known to have been saddled with the responsibility of managing the affairs? And would you say his time, he didn't also do well? I mean, we all recall the story of the assembly inviting for further, finding out what really happened to the funds and so on and so forth. And remember the fainting incidents and so on and so forth. So would you say that all who have been in charge of the NDDC have not done well in the past years?
You saw when the Senate President was manning the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, I came with his carried like a forensic audit. What came out of the audit? Ask yourself. Consultants came all out and spoke truth to power that the whole thing was just a charade, was a child's play. The former President Muhammadu Buhari was just deceived. He was deceived into that voyage of pumping money for audits that didn't bring out anything. Even the recent quarrel between Senator Natasha and the Senate President revealed some of the underlying facts around that forensic audit that the Senate President masterminded. Then you saw when some things were coming up of how cronies and friends and associates, they are being used as proxies to do things that are not necessarily geared towards unraveling truth and facts that we give a very clear narration of the invoices and transactions that have happened there in the years before he came on board. So I don't want to make this discussion a discussion around the Senate president. People were there before he came, even before the creation of the Ministry of the Niger Delta Affairs. People have come as chairman of the commission, reporting to the presidency. You know, the presidency is directly captured in the act to supervise the commission, not necessarily the minister. So it is born out of these are politics of transaction. These are transactional politics things that made ministers of the Niger Delta begin to feel incorporated in the act. And they are mere messengers by the president to, on behalf of the president, look and give feedback of what is happening there. But trust Nigeria, you know, when you give them a yard, they'll try to make more than 10, 50, 100 yards out of it. So it's not a discussion for the Senate president. It's a question of doing the needful. Are people moving away from this transactional mindset to transformational leadership? This we are going to continue to push for our region, that we've got to transform our mind, to transform the region, to transform our environment. The energy need of the world is doubling up every day. The numbers are increasing. There's energy poverty everywhere, and so we need more energy. And the energy that is highly likely for us in Nigeria is the crude, is the oil and gas. And it is largely found in the region, and they will continue to explore because fossil ain't going anywhere soon. So we must brace up for the task ahead so that our environment can be conserved for generations to come. There's climate change issue all over the place. There's issues around flooding all over the place. You saw the last one that happened in Niger. Was it at Mokwa? That one is even far away, Niger. You saw floods that have happened in 2012. The one that happened 2 years ago, even in the region, the Port Harcourt Road was impassable. There is the East-West Road now, from Warri leading to Port Harcourt. So we have an array of issues, challenges, and that is why we must give it to the NNPC for also deeming it fit to incorporate some of these local security companies like Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited, Tantita, and the project monitoring people that have been part and parcel of safeguarding the environment by way of safeguarding the national assets. You know, the poverty in the region is so rife to the extent that younger and unemployed people delve into bunkering, delve into oil theft. And
therein lies the concern. You know, therein lies the concern. You talk about how there are high levels of poverty and that we need to move away from a transactional mindset. How do we find that sort of divide between moving away from a transactional mindset when people are grappling with strong levels of poverty? And then what will that moving away from a transactional mindset look like? What approach can be taken to ensure the renewing of the minds of our people, to ensure that they're not involving themselves in activities that would jeopardize the environment?
Look, the cultivation, we have to start from families. We've got to start teaching our children how to do things that will benefit the society, how to be cultured, teach our children principles, values, because the life of every human being starts from the family circle. Our family values have been eroded for want of unnecessary wealth. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry want to own big houses, want to drive big cars. We should teach our children contentment. That's the only way we can transform their mind. There's nothing extraordinary about Europe. What is happening in Europe, North America, or Asia? It's just a question of people getting to agree to themselves that they have to make their society a better place that will work for everybody. Humanity in our country is so religious, highly religious. We're predominantly Christians and Muslims. And what is religion if not for humanity? And what is humanity? Humanity is ensuring that everybody have that sense of belonging. everybody have that sense of human being, of a human being. Now, if we teach our children values, certainly there's no way they will grow up deviating from those values. If you take your mind back to when some of us were growing up, we were being cautioned by our parents. Some of us were taken to churches, mosques, and what have you. Even for those traditionalists, they were also very morally conscious. But morality has been so eroded in our society because we place too much value and premium on money. On money, we must de-emphasize needless monies and wealth. We ain't going to live here beyond 100, beyond 90, 120, the most 150. You won't be here forever. Why this acquisition of needless wealth? This aggrandizement. Aggrandizement is a challenge. Niger Delta could have been somewhere like Rotterdam, or maybe Texas, Houston, Dallas. We have the crisscrossing of bridges all over the place. Look at
absolutely. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head, talking about how parents also need to start. We need to start from the home front, understanding what our value system are, and just basically understanding that nobody's going to leave this world alive. Thank you so much, Lucky Ighoyota, for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.